Hello everybody and welcome back to another Leaden Hall short story vlog. But wait, Vivian, I hear you saying, you already finished that short story. No, I did not. Yes, I finished the rough draft of it, but the writing process is so much more than just actually writing. It involves all of the stuff before, like the planning you saw me do, and it also involves a lot of editing. So today we are editing. I'm going to be doing kind of my process for writing fiction. So when I was writing the novels, I do this. The short story, I'm going to do this as well, which is that I always write what I consider a rough draft first. It is not a first draft, it is a rough draft. Now I know that sounds pedantic, but it's really important because if you say a first draft, that feels very, not final, but it has to be kind of put together. It has to all be complete. It has to be readable. It has to be a certain level, I think, in my head. Maybe other people don't think that way, but I do. So I don't write a first draft. I write a rough draft. The first draft that I write is not a first draft. It is a rough draft. I do the same thing for my nonfiction as well. No matter what I'm writing, it is always a rough draft first, and then I edit it into a first draft. I know that sounds really weird, but it's just the way that my brain works, and it makes it feel like I can actually just put words on a page and not stress about it. While if I know it's going to be a first draft, I stress about it. With nonfiction, I go from a rough draft to a first draft by reading through things, making sure that all of my notes to myself are taken care of, because that's how I write nonfiction, is a lot of like, I don't know, insert more information about this, or need a quote from fieldwork, or put in an anecdote here. For fiction, what I do is I actually have the rough draft on kind of one side and a blank Word document on the other, and I rewrite physically the draft from the rough draft into the first draft form. When it's a novel, this is also when I add in chapters. Yes, that is right, you heard me. I do not write chapters immediately. I don't like starting with the idea of where chapters will break, because if you haven't written it yet, you don't actually know where is a good spot to cut. And I find a lot of my friends will spend a lot of time fiddling with where chapters are, and they haven't even finished writing the book yet. And it's like, I'd rather just write all my scenes and have the flow of the story, and then I can go in and add chapter breaks where they make sense. So that's also part of the first draft edit. However, we don't need to worry about chapter breaks because this is a short story. But we'll still be editing it the way I do the fiction novels, where I'm going to be rewriting it physically as I go. I tend to be able to do this a lot faster than the rough draft, because I'm not having to come up with anything. The words are already there. That being said, in my kind of finishing up the rough draft vlog of Leaden Hall, I said I didn't like my ending, and the more time that has passed, the more I've realized I really didn't like that ending. I mean, it wasn't what happened in the ending that I have a problem with. It happened exactly as I wanted it to, as far as like the actual event is concerned. But how we got there, how long we spent there, how it was described, what was going on, that all didn't really hit for me. So I'm gonna be kind of rewriting a lot of that ending and adding quite a bit, I think, to it, because it just wasn't hitting it right. I needed it to hit a certain note, and it just didn't hit that note. So I've got to figure out how to hit that note. It is currently 11 o'clock. So we are going to write and work on this for about, I would say maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, roughly. This afternoon, I am working on a research project. However, I cannot film it because a lot of the information is very sensitive information. But I do have this mid-afternoon. I have a couple of hours this afternoon to spend on Leaden Hall, so that's what we're going to do. I'm gonna go get coffee. I'm gonna set you up to be able to see everything. And we are going to edit Leaden Hall from a rough draft to an actual first draft of the story. Yay! So, it's been about an hour. I have done 2,421 words. Out of curiosity, I might see how many words it was originally. Just because I'm curious of how much I edited. So, I have 2,421 words, which was originally 2,418. So I somehow netted like 3 words. But basically, I've reached the point where there's going to be a lot more changes, and I started to feel my concentration slipping, and I knew that is not where you want to be mentally when you're doing like big major alterations, because there was a scene before the ending that I think also needed like a tiny bit of tweaking. Not like a massive amount, but just like a small amount. I needed to slightly change something that happened. So I need to go through and edit that differently. And then obviously the ending will be a bit different. So that's going to take a lot more, that's going to take a little bit more mental energy than I currently have. So I think we're going to end it here today, but I think on either Monday or this weekend if I have time, but definitely Monday if I don't, I might come back and finish up. I was supposed to be doing work on my novel on Monday, but maybe I'll spend a bit of time working on the short story because it'll just be nice to have it done. And I'm spending Friday on the novel anyway, so yeah. So I think I'll pick this back up on Monday. So you'll see me in a very like quick snap of a change and it'll suddenly be magically Monday. But for me, it'll be a couple of days. So I'll see you then. Good morning. All right, it is Monday. I thought about working on this over the weekend and then I just decided I didn't. I didn't decide anything, I just didn't. Normally I would be working on my novel today. However, I think it would be better to just get this short story done. I normally have my limit of like 5 to 6 projects that I take on every quarter. This quarter I have 7, which is totally my own fault, but it has been getting quite a bit. But I have so far finished 2 of the projects, at least hit the point that I had intended to hit by the end of the quarter. I've already hit that point with 2 of the projects. And the 3rd project that I could theoretically hit the end of now is the short story. So I figured, let's put everything aside and let's finish this short story, because I'm probably not going to do another round of edits. Normally I would, after doing this like rewriting edit, I would then do line edits, but I don't think I'm going to do that yet. I'm probably not going to do that until I know what I want to do with this story. If I want to get it published, where I want to get it published. Because if I don't want to get it published, then there's no point in doing line edits, in my opinion. I think this round of edits is getting it to a point where I'm happy, and then I can decide what I want to do after that. It would be nice to just get the story finished. It would be very nice if I could just get this story finished. So that's what I'm going to do. That's all I have planned for today, is finish this dang story. And then I'll probably actually hook in a microphone so you can actually hear me a little bit better, and I'll do like a little wrap up on how I feel about it all, about the process and stuff like that, because I have come to some conclusions and new goals based off of this whole experience, and so I'd love to talk to you guys about it. But that is not for now, because I want to finish the story first. I want to get it done first. We have tea. It's fresh, so it's still very warm, and let us go ahead and start doing the edits again. Let's just dive right back in there. Done. Okay, so I just finished. I thought it was gonna take me a lot longer. It's only like 10:20. It's only been like an hour. It is currently at 5,111 words. So I think I'm happy. I knew this was a problem when I went to go edit it, and I was hoping that rewriting the ending would change this fact, but I don't think it did, which is that I don't think it's horror. It's horror light. It's more like a commentary on depression, but maybe that's fine. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that's Leaden Hall. That's Leaden Hall done. Yay! Okay, so let me do a quick kind of reflection on this whole process. Should I actually use a microphone to make this a little bit better? I'll use a microphone. Hold on. Whew. All right, so now that you can hear me a little bit better, we're gonna get into this. So, as a quick reflection on Leaden Hall specifically, I didn't really have any intentions going into this project, except that I was obsessed with the Leaden Hall house and I wanted to write it into a story somehow, and I did. So I'm happy with that. I had intentions to make it a horror. As I already mentioned, I don't know how successful that was. I personally don't know if it was really like horror vibes, but that might be because I was writing it. But also there are some books that I have heard people talk about as really great horror that they felt really good creepy vibes from that I just didn't get that. I'm looking at you, House in the Middle of the Lake, or House at the Bottom of a Lake, I think it was called. So it could be that someone else reads this and sees the horror in it. I'm happy leaving it as is because it was what I wanted for the story. So whatever genre that ends up fitting into, I'm happy. So yeah, I think it was a really wonderful experience. I was really happy that I did it. It's been a long time since I have written a short story. I used to write short stories all the time back when I was doing my undergraduate degree. That was many years ago. I will not count them because it'll make me really depressed. But it was a very long time ago. And when I swapped to doing academic work and more nonfiction writing, short stories were not really high on the priority list. Really, any fiction wasn't really high on the priority list. And so when I came up with the idea for a novel, that was what took precedence over kind of flexing muscles and exercising by writing short stories. Which brings me to kind of my main point, which was that I think this was a really good exercise. I think it's really good to write shorter form things. It's fun, but more than that, it's also an excuse to try different things, to experiment, to practice at certain activities. It's a way to get better without needing to worry about affecting a larger project that you... I don't want to say I don't care about the short story, because I do. I really love it. I really care about it. I'm obsessed with it the way that I'm obsessed with the house. But it's different than the way I care about the novel, right? And I really don't want to fuck up the novel, but I can have a bad short story and it can live in the back of a digital drawer, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So one of the things that I have been thinking about when I was beginning to reach the end of Leaden Hall was that I think this is an important thing to keep doing. I think it's an important thing to keep working on in some fashion. Basically, I plan my year in quarters. I know, so revolutionary. But I plan it in quarters, and I call those quarters terms. If you want more info, I have a planning vlog that I put out. There's going to be another one that I'm going to put out at the start of next quarter from when I do that planning. Basically, I have been wanting to have a project set aside every quarter for writing that is not the novel, but is fiction. So some other kind of fiction outlet, because I do so much nonfiction that I think I need something other than the novel to really exercise and think and explore creativity with. And this was a really wonderful exercise for that. So much so that I am thinking that every quarter I should try writing a short story. So I think that's my goal for this year. Whether or not I'm going to carry it on after this year, I don't know. for 2025, I'm going to see if I can write a short story every quarter. So that would mean that I would have 4 short stories by the end of this year. And I have 1 done. So far so good, right? So one of the things that I'm going to do for vlog purposes, I'm going to start a new playlist on the channel that is short stories, and I'm going to put them all in there, and they will all be labeled part 1 through part whatever. I think there have been 5 Leaden Hall ones, something like that. I also really love the fact, from a vlogging perspective, I really loved the fact that I got to take you through the entire process. I'm always so cautious about showing too much in regards to the novels for a lot of reasons. Same thing with the nonfiction books, to be honest. I'm a little bit always worried about having too much information out there or having people be able to sneak info. And I know this channel isn't huge by any stretch of the imagination, but you never know what might happen or who might see things or who cares or what happens once things start getting published. So basically, the short stories are a nice way of showing you the process. And to be honest, if you end up like reading the whole short story through like slowing down clips on YouTube, like, then so be it. Like, what do I care? Right? Like, whatever. So I feel less cautious about it, which is really great from a vlogging perspective, being able to share with you the entire process from research to plotting to writing to editing, the entire step, because I think often I end up just showing writing and being like, yeah, that's being a writer, and that's not being a writer. Being a writer is everything else around it, and writing is only one step of a much larger process. And so yeah, I'm really happy that I got to show you all of that, and I'm looking forward to the next ones because I want to take each one differently. So this one was kind of, Leaden Hall was a personal obsession, right? It was like, this is my white whale. This is my thing that I want to do something with. And I keep walking past this house and wanting to do something with it and knowing that I want to do something with it and not knowing what that would be and finally having a place for that. So that was a personal, it was a very personal goal for me. For future short stories, I think I want to pick specific things that I want to either be trying or learning or experimenting with. So that way I have some kind of goal in mind or some kind of outcome that I'm wanting. Because like I said, I think these are great. Short stories are great for experimentation and they're great for just learning a lot. I tend to write in my comfort zones. And so these are ways that I can try different things and I can see what I'm good at and what I need help with and what I need to grow from and all of that kind of stuff. I can't wait to come back to short stories next term or next quarter. I call them terms because I'm still living as if I'm at universities because, oh Lord. I actually already have the like premise of the next short story in mind, but I'm just gonna kind of let it live in my head and not do anything with it until April when I get to start delving into it. All that being said, thank you so much for being with me through the Leaden Hall journey. It started with being sidetracked and seeing it as a distraction from other work, and it became a short story that I think I'm proud of. I think I'm proud of it. Oh, it'll grow on me. I'm always so critical of my own work, but I'm very happy with it. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be when I was first delving into the research, but I think that getting into the history and history ghosts of a haunting wasn't quite what I was wanting in the end. I kind of wanted the house to be its own entity, and I did that. Anyway, I will hopefully be able to update you with what I decide to do with this short story. I don't know yet what I want to do with them. I don't know if I'm gonna seek publication. I don't know if I'm going to just put them online and let people enjoy them. I don't know. we'll see. I haven't decided yet, and I'm not going to decide anytime soon. I just kind of want to enjoy writing them and not have any kind of specific point in mind, because then that'll end up consuming me, instead of just having a good time and enjoying the process, which I think is an important experience in and of itself. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you for being with me through this journey. Hopefully you can join me in the next one, and I will see you next time. Bye!